Are you looking for great wide receiver value late in your drafts? We'll give you our 5 favorite after round 10. All right, Dave Richard is here on Fantasy Football Today in 5. What's going on? Why you tapping?
Well, you did the Fantasy Football Today in 5 thing a little bit later. Usually the intro has F15 and 5, and that's when I show my 5 fingers to the camera. But you didn't do it on your intro today.
Yeah.
You did it right now after the intro, so I did it then. And so I'm always doing something stupid leading up to giving 5 fingers to the camera.
And after. So let's talk about your 5 favorite wide receivers to be drafted after round 10 based on current average draft position. Rondale Moore's a lot of rookies in this range, but Rondale Moore is a second-year guy. You like him after round 10?
Hoping he can get off to a hot start. And we talked about it on Tuesday's FFT show that Eno Benjamin looks like the guy behind James Conner. It wouldn't surprise me in the least if the Arizona Cardinals use Rondale Moore, kind of like the 49ers use Deebo Samuel, a guy who plays wide receiver but gets work in the backfield and out of the backfield. We've mentioned his ADOT from last year being laughable. That means he's getting targets at the line of scrimmage or behind. I think it was negative yardage.
Yep.
He's somebody that could be deployed that way, but he's also capable of being deployed as a traditional wide receiver who gets targets further than 1 yard down the field. So I think that there's a lot of potential for him, especially in those first few games without DeAndre Hopkins there, for him to be pretty good, and you can get him in round 11.
Michael Gallup could be back fairly early in the season, and right now outside of round 10. Don't know how long that will last, but I guess it obviously makes a lot of sense. Michael Gallup hasn't really had a great career. He's kind of had one good year. What do you expect from him if he's back, when he's back?
I'm always going to be nervous about a player at any position coming back from a torn ACL, especially as late in the year as Gallup had his. But if he's right, the Cowboys need him desperately. They don't have a number 2 receiver that's reliable right now beyond CeeDee Lamb, and I'm not counting Dalton Schultz, but Schultz obviously would be another good target for Dak Prescott. Gallup's one that Prescott would trust. And so if he's back on the field and he's moving well, he's got good size, a good catch radius, and he's made some big plays before. I would expect Gallup to be one of those players that you can draft late, and eventually you'll be using him as a number 3 receiver.
I'm going to throw 3 rookies in there, lump them together. Jamison Williams, George Pickens, and Jahan Dotson. Who is your favorite?
My favorite is Dotson. In fact, I think Dotson's my favorite ahead of everybody that we've talked about so far, because he's the one that's got a path to being maybe the 1B receiver in an offense, and especially an offense with Carson Wentz, who he's got a lot of lumps, but he does have a good, strong arm to throw downfield. Dotson's good there. Dotson's good in the short area and intermediate areas, and he's been connecting with Wentz while Terry McLaurin's been out. He's one of my favorite rookie wide receivers to take, especially in this range, because I think he'll provide good value. You're going to have to be real patient with Jamison Williams, because even when he does come back from his torn ACL, his happened in January. You've got to hope for him to connect on deep passes with Jared Goff. I think it's kind of tough to count on. He might be someone who really breaks out in 2023, but if you've got the bench space, you could stash him for the second half of 2022. I'm sure he'll make a few splash plays later on in the year. Pickens is also somebody I'm excited about. And I know it's a crowded receiving core in Pittsburgh, but we know that Chase Claypool could be one mistake away from being a bench guy. And Deontay Johnson, he's really been a great short area target. Pickens can work the intermediate and deep levels. He's got good speed. He could eventually become the number 1 receiver in Pittsburgh. That might happen in 2023. He's somebody who's got a lot of talent. He's over his ACL injuries. Could be a real good piece of that Steelers offense.
You didn't say Christian Watson.
I'm waiting and seeing.
What's up with that, man?
Yeah, listen, I know that we've had some nice reports from OTAs. I want to see it in training camp. I got to see it from Pickens too. But Pickens, we're not drafting Pickens anywhere near round 11. Watson might be going before round 11. There's a lot of value there that might not be realized this year in Green Bay. I kind of like Romeo Doubs as like a super late round receiver. I like him a lot coming out of Nevada.
I'm just going to do a quick check before we go on Allen Lazard's average draft position.
If he's around 11 plus, he would jump to the top of the list.
He's in round 10 at 118th.
So he's almost there.
Yeah, and that's since May.
Oh no, dude. I might get to a point where I am okay with Lazard in round 7, like late round 7, late round 8. Let's call it round 8 for Allen Lazard.
In Fantasy Pros ADP, he's going 125th overall. So Allen Lazard,
that's like 11. He'd be the best one. He'd be better than Dotson.
All right. Let's do the show over again, Dave.
Okay.
All right. Thanks, everybody. We'll talk to you tomorrow on Fantasy Football.